Our next proof, our given is that the measure of angle 1 is 90 degrees and angle 3 is a right angle. Okay, and I am trying to prove that angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. So I need to incorporate angle 2 somehow into this proof. So I know some stuff about angle 1, I know some stuff about angle 3. I gotta figure out how to loop in angle 2. I'm gonna go look at my diagram. I see in my diagram that angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. So I'm gonna put that in my proof. I can say angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. Remember, first you have to spell it out in words. Angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. Yikes. Rough. Angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. That is the linear pair theorem. Okay. And now, if they're supplementary, I can say that they add up to 180. Their measures add up to 180. So step 3 is the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. That's the definition of supplementary angles. Okay. Now, let's sort of think. I know angle 1 is 90, so I'm just going to sort of thought process through. So if angle 1 is 90, if 1's a right angle and 1 and 2 are supplementary, that means that 2's a right angle. If 2's a right angle and 3's a right angle, then wouldn't that mean that 2 and 3 are congruent to each other if they're both right angles? That's sort of the thought process I'm going to go down. If 2 and 3 are congruent and 3's a right angle, 2's a right angle. And if 1's a right angle, because they're supplementary, if this is 90, this has to be 90. If this is 90, it's a right angle. So that's just kind of me like thinking through what I know. So I have to make a nice linear organized argument. So if I know the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is 180 because those angles were supplementary, and I know the measure of angle 1 is 90, well, I can go ahead and substitute 90 into this equation in for the measure of angle 1. That is the substitution property. Then I'm trying to say that measure of angle 2 is 90, so I need to subtract 90 from both sides. So the measure of angle 2 is 90. That's the subtraction property. I subtracted 90 from both sides. And if the measure of angle 2 is 90, well, that's what it means for it to be a right angle. So that means angle 2 is a right angle. Ooh, I like where this is going. Angle 2 is a right angle. How did I know that was a right angle? Ugh, that's the definition of a right angle if its measure is 90 degrees. If its measure is 90 degrees, that means it's a right angle. So because I knew the measure of angle 2 is 90 degrees, that meant that angle 2 was a right angle. And now, oh, how lovely is this? Now, since angle 3 is a right angle, and, ooh, mercy, angle 2 is a right angle, if angle 3 and angle 2 are both right angles, that means they have to be congruent to each other. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 3 because that's the right angles congruence theorem. And you can abbreviate congruence with this symbol. That's the right angles congruence theorem. If two angles are both right angles, they have to be congruent to each other. Whew! That one incorporates a lot of different ideas. So use your diagram. Use everything in the given. Think about I am starting with some information. I need to end up with angle 2 in the mix, so I had to figure out a way to get angle 2 into my proof somehow. So that led me to go look at my diagram and see that angle 1 and angle 2 have a special relationship. They're forming a linear pair, so they're supplementary to each other, and then it just sort of dominoed from there. Sometimes on a proof you might be thinking to yourself, I just don't know what to do next. I just don't know where I'm headed. Sometimes your strategy is just to take what you know and just say something else in your proof that's true based off what you know. So like, for example, in step 2, I can see that they're a linear pair. So I'm going to go put that in my proof. I see that in my diagram. Angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. And even if you don't know exactly what your end goal is, or like what your plane of attack is, y'all know that if angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, that means that their measures add up to 180. Definition of supplementary angles. Like step 3 should be, you should be pretty good at saying that step next. So even if you don't end up using it, or even if it's not helpful in the proof, it's not wrong. We want to try to avoid unnecessary steps. We want to make like the shortest, most concise proof possible. But sometimes a good strategy is just start saying things that you know are true. And if they end up not being helpful in your proof, you can just erase them or draw a line through them. So it just can help you sort of take another step forward. Sometimes you just have to try something and see if it works. So that's one of the beautiful things about geometry, is it forces you to just try it. Just take a whack at it, and if it doesn't lead anywhere, just erase it and start over. And that's okay. We only learn from our mistakes. I was going to say something really deep, and then it didn't work. It's Friday. I'm tired. I'll come up with an inspirational quote later.